weekly warm-up. This one's going to be a fun one because it's actually extremely different from really anything that I've done so far, and it's something sort of new and something that I think a lot of people think a lot about, but I've been kind of intentional about not doing this too much. So what this is, it's called burst articulation, as you can see from the title. And what it is actually an articulation exercise that has to do with the speed of articulation. And I feel like that's what everybody really cares about when it comes to articulation, is how fast you're able to articulate and how to increase articulation speed. But I've been pretty intentional about not focusing on that because I think it's so much more important to get quality of articulation before you get into the speed of the articulation. If the quality is good, then the speed will come with it. But it's really important to get that quality first. So if you have doubts about the quality of your articulation, then don't even worry about this exercise. This is just for those who want to work on picking up the speed a little bit and get a little bit faster with your articulation. So what this is I call it burst articulation, where we're basically going to play, if you actually wrote out the rhythm, it's a quarter note, beat 2 is 4/16 notes, and then the rest of the measure is a half note in 4/4. But the tempo is going to be quite fast, so that those 4/16 notes are really, really fast. So it might be something that you do at 100, 120, 144. Some people might do this exercise even up to like 180 or 200 if you're really crazy. It depends on your skill level and where you're at, but what you want to do is push yourself to where you're really sort of at your peak articulation speed in those 4/16 notes in the middle. But we have plenty of stuff around it to sort of relax and make sure that we're playing the clarinet really well and that we're not panicking about that fast articulation, tensing up, biting on the reed, and not letting the sound actually happen. And then, of course, we can sort of move that pattern of rhythm and articulation throughout a scale or throughout whatever you want. So let me go ahead and demonstrate that, and then I'll go over a couple other big goals for this and things to be thinking about as you're doing this. So you can hear there were even a few where my tongue was sort of lazy. And a lot of times that actually had a lot more to do with the air. Speed of articulation has so much more to do with air compression than you would think. You have to really make sure that that air is always supporting so that the sound's always coming out. If you have too little air support, then you might end up where your tongue hits the reed but doesn't bounce back because there's not enough support. You might get something like this, where you're not getting truly 4 clear 16th notes. And that was happening when I had some of those where it didn't come out as clearly because I didn't have enough air support. So of course, in any good warm-up fashion, I just did it again to make it better and make sure that I can do it consistently with the quality that I want. And that's the nice thing about this exercise with having the long notes on either side, is you have that chance to really test and make sure that your air is sustaining really well. You do your fast notes, and then you have that good double check to make sure that you're still sustaining with a great sound like we always want. So I think that's about it for this exercise. I hope that you enjoy working on this and working on that speed. Again, this is nice too because it's not a speed exercise where you have to gradually be increasing, but you sort of go for your max speed right away. Sometimes working at that maximum of our comfort zone is what will really help us to get stronger. But we're also not just trying to just work ourselves to death where we start losing air support, clamping down on the embouchure, and start having bad habits in our fast articulation. We have that sort of checkpoint, that base point of the long tone on either side to make sure everything is nice and smooth. So as always, if you have any questions about this exercise or any other warm-up exercise that you would like to see me explain or go over, feel free to leave a comment on this. Even if you're not watching live, you can always leave a comment if you're watching the replay, and I'll see it and I will most likely reply, or who knows, maybe do a more in-depth video on it or cover it in a future live weekly warm-up. So thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you next Monday on the next live weekly warm-up.